you think you are a devotee of God. Devotion kicks in, and for a moment you feel purity and peace. Another moment, your teenage children are throwing tantrums and you regret for having children. Why did I have children? So we are so many in one. We are polymorphs, psychologically speaking. Can we truly flourish as a group or only as individuals? Can a happy person continue to be happy if surrounded by unhappy groups or vice versa? What can I say? Should I give this answer in black and white or with one sentence? That there is always individual flourishing that leads to partial or full group flourishing. It is the individual peace that can possibly have impact on universal peace. I often get bombarded with questions like, when you meditate, is it not selfish to have your own spiritual gain? My response is always that until I am equipped with necessary know-how, I cannot assist others. Self-enablement is a must before we can assist others. Isn't it? When we talk about human flourishing, from what level are we talking? What sort of flourishing? Is it physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual flourishing? When you are satisfied at a physical level, will your emotional needs be satisfied as well? If you are mentally distressed, how will that work out in the field of spirituality, for example? That does not mean that spiritual fulfillment requires any sort of stress. No, I don't mean to say that. When one field of our need, for example, emotional fulfillment, is satisfied, how will that work out to be in the field of spirituality or in the field of what we call righteousness or in the field what we call financial needs? They are all different segments. Life can be run in a balanced way when all these four fundamental needs are fulfilled at an individual level. If you are seeking wisdom, for example, or intellectual fulfillment, then those needs which took care of you at the previous levels will never quench your intellectual fervor. Likewise, what about your emotional fulfillment? And for those who have all this and yet remains unfulfilled, unexpressed is unfulfilled hunger of your spirit, your soul. Despite of having everything, yet often we feel a vacuum, a kind of a missing out on something. I think human flourishing is possible when all these dimensions are taken care of. This brings us to the idea of sense of connectedness, interconnectedness. Think for a moment about a volcano erupting violently on some distant planet that is 2 light years away, but is so beautiful beyond imagination. A beautiful planet where it has destroyed millions of inhabitants versus now think of a situation where 100,000 individuals died due to some calamity in Ethiopia, which will affect you more. How many amongst us will cry if even one person from our family gets affected by a disease or dies due to a disease? We remain afflicted for all life for such a loss. Why such a disparity in our feelings? It's precisely due to lack of perception of interconnectedness or sense of belonging. Our vision covers from the closest to the farthest, depending upon how great is your sense of interconnectedness. Moreover, when we bring in to this equation the factor called time, tragedy that fell upon almost 30 years back or 3 million years back, will it hurt you compared to if it happens today? sense of belonging. I have often witnessed that mothers, when they hear the sound of a baby crying, they say, "Oh, that's not my baby," and they take a back seat, saying thus. They simply sit down and say into their normal routine, not bothering about that some baby is still crying. We are all individuals. Sometimes when we love someone so much that both personalities actually identify in each other, the pain of other and surely joys of another will deeply affect each other. We may be different from one another, but for sure we are greatly connected with each other, isn't it? This connection to some is palpable, and to most it remains a mystery. Some feel this connection with the other at an intellectual level, or at emotional level, or at a spiritual level. Connection is the reality, and there is no illusion about it, just as consciousness is. To what extent one is able to become aware measures the level of evolution of consciousness. It is how we can appreciate this connection with authentic realization through experience. Only that can build the deeper bonds. Now, building the deeper bonds with the universe, to me, it's yoga. Understanding this interconnectedness is yoga. Then everything will feel as one sentient entity. The idea of abusing even a stone will not surface in such a heart. To me, this is true human flourishing. The very first step in yoga, Patanjali says, the very first aphorism, first sutra of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra is this: Yoga, Atha Yoga Anusasanam. Atha means henceforth, or here and now. I decide to follow the discipline required in yoga. Yoga, we understand what we are trying to attain, the highest. Merge in the highest. Highest is only one, God. But as an individual, from within we are psychologically so many individuals. We have many fancies. We identify ourselves with so many objects of the world, and we become that for that particular moment. We identify ourselves as successful businessmen, perhaps. So at that moment, your emotions are all about business. Business means competition also, and all about competitive mind kicks in. Another side, you think you are a devotee of God. Devotion kicks in, and for a moment you feel purity and peace. Another moment, your teenage children are throwing tantrums and you regret for having children. Why did I have children? So we are so many in one. We are polymorphs, psychologically speaking. How can these multiple individuals residing in my psyche can merge with one entity? Think about it. Sahaj Marg has a very simple method. We close our eyes every morning. How difficult it is. It's not difficult to close your eyes and sit peacefully with a craving heart that may Lord's grace pour in my heart and be for a moment become one with each other. If you have the true craving, this becomes very automatic. There is no need to put an alarm clock or use willpower. To me, willpower is a useless thing. I often give an example of children, for example. Does a child have to use his willpower to enjoy ice cream? Oh, I have to use so much of willpower to use. Maybe if you are so fat and obese, you might have to restrain yourself. But that too, people give up their willpower. But what drives a young child is the interest, not the willpower. So in Sahaj Marg we say, I have to have interest, the craving. craving for the ultimate, then all these things becomes automatic. Discipline becomes automatic. It's no longer enforced. So what have we had learned? That one can merge with another. They both are sincere. One is already sincere, God. He is always welcoming with open arms. We are not one as an individual. We are many. So we have to stop making our identification with multiple objectival things. Can I stop becoming a businessman? No. Can I stop becoming a husband or a father or grandfather? No. It is required. But then, what about the identification with that? That too there is a solution. Lord says, be the witness. That solves all the problem. You get directly involved into it, you will not learn anything. Be the witness and see all these things without abandoning anything. Try to sleep aggressively. Sometimes we come home and we warn wife and children and everybody, don't disturb me, I want to sleep. And you try so hard to sleep and even a little sound will disturb you. You're trying too hard. Give it up. Be the witness. Once you become the witness, things slow down and you get into that state. Trying to meditate so hard, I need to meditate on divine light in my heart, and focus so much, you'll have a headache. Same thing with cleaning. Let go of everything. Oh no, I have to get rid of this impression about my boyfriend. No. Trying to get rid of, you will only increase his remembrance. Be gentle, be innocent, and see what happens. Only innocent people can learn. People who think they have learned everything, I know everything, they miss the opportunity of learning new things. Knowledgelessness is Babuji's term. Knowledgelessness, mindlessness. It is not that you become mindless, it is mindlessness, knowledgelessness. The beautiful terms. You have the mind, but you are not identifying yourself with the mind. You are witnessing your thoughts. You are witnessing your feelings. You are witnessing the demands of your body. You become perfect drashta, witness. And that's what yoga is all about. Training ourselves as a witness leads us to those lofty states.